Good afternoon. It is 3 o'clock. I'm Joseph Bonanno live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. The Titans have announced that they will hold an introductory press conference for new general manager Mike Borgonzi on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Chad Brinker, president of football operations, is scheduled to meet with the media at 10 a.m. for a quote-only session before Borgonzi speaks. In NFL news today, Ian Rappaport reported this morning that Lions defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn is set to visit with the Jets today, and the team's goal is to keep him from leaving the building. There is no deal right now, but if all goes well, he could end the day as head coach of New York. Also, the Saints, on the other hand, have postponed several head coach interviews due to severe weather in New Orleans. Mike Kafka was supposed to go today, with Aaron Glenn and Anthony Weaver scheduled for tomorrow, but now interviews are expected to resume later in the week. In college hoops tonight, Vanderbilt heads on the road to face number 4 Alabama at 6, and number 6 Tennessee looks to bounce back from Saturday's loss to Vanderbilt as they return home to face number 14 Mississippi State. Tip-off for that one is at 6 p.m., and you can catch the Ball Network call of the game right here on The Zone starting at 5:30. For all your foundation repair, whatever you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Yo, what up, Nashville? 3HL's on the air. Beautiful day in the Music City. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. Brent Doherty with you, as I said. Don Davenport is here as well, y'all.
What up? Let's go. Happy, I don't even know what day it is. That whole holiday thing screws me up. Snow. What day is it, Mayor?
Yeah, I think once we get past Martin Luther King Day, then we start the year.
We're back to the grind.
Listen, let's get productive, people. It's time. Slay Dog is here, too, sort of.
What?
Where is he? Is he in Charlotte, or is he doing a game?
Hey, look who's up.
Slay Dog.
Coming at you with the beautiful hotel lighting. Hi, Slay.
There it is. It can't get any better than this. I could turn it off and go dark mode again.
No. Oh, now you really can't. You're just a shadow of yourself.
Yeah, you look like
I'm a silhouette, Babs.
Mm-hmm.
You look like a boom boom room hostage.
Well,
yes, you do.
I'm sure a lot of people want to be put in the boom boom room. Tennessee is one that would like to be putting a team in the boom boom room and locking them away. We're gonna see though.
Yeah. How do they bounce back after a
jump right in, Babs?
1-point loss?
Yeah, I think, man, listen, you got to go out there and you got to bring a physicality to the game like no other. I think when you look back at last season, Mississippi State was able to spank them because they were more physical than them, and it showed not only in the regular season but to go into the SEC tournament with the number 1 seed and have some days off to get your body back healthy. And they came out, man, like a buzzsaw and just sawed right through Tennessee with no questions asked. So they returned a lot of that team, the makeup of that team anyway, and added new pieces as far as scoring, athletic wings. Josh Hubbard is back. When you talk about one of the best point guards in the nation, especially when it comes to putting the ball in the hole. So it's going to be interesting. He is one of the best at drawing fouls, especially from 3-point shooting, which it's been documented with Coach Barnes coming out and speaking, Zakai and Meshack needing to stay away from that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out because he's about the same size as Zakai. He just jumps like 30 feet off the ground when he shoots, which makes it kind of have a little jackknife in his leg, which you can run into. So you got to be aware of those things. But, man, you got to be physical. You got to be physical. You got to own the boards. This is a team that's going to go out there. And if you think it's hard to get open against Vanderbilt, it's going to be even more difficult to get off screens and, go offensive rebound against this team. So it's going to be a fight for 40 minutes, and they got to come with it. And it's got to be a collective effort.
It's interesting. Tennessee 2-2 in the last 4. Both losses coming on the road. How different are they at home in the Tommy Bowl, Food City Center?
Much more different. And I think it's the same for every team in the SEC. Every team is different when they play at home because, you get that home crowd behind you. You're looking for an advantage or an edge walking into any game. And a home court advantage is just that. It's a home court advantage. Especially when it's not much separation as far as talent goes, as far as coaching goes in the conference. So that lean would go towards, that home court getting behind you. And, when teams go on the road and win, it's because they shot the ball really well or punched them while they was, still thinking they were just going to mosey on through the game and, stroll through, and teams come for a fight, knowing that also a win on the road is worth two. Really, in the sense, than just one win. So teams that really can get that as a feather in their cap, and they got more of a margin of error to play with.
8.5. Tennessee favored by 8.5. 6 o'clock on the SEC Network. You can catch Slay all night long. You're doing SEC Network, right?
I am doing SEC Network.
Good.
Yeah, Firebomb is 6. I think.
Yeah, whenever he wants to get off the air, I guess. Vanderbilt at number 4, Alabama. Vanderbilt coming off that emotional win, obviously, as Babs described it, against Tennessee. 12.5-point underdog in Tuscaloosa. Alabama so tough at home, too. And they're coming off 100-plus at Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they tough. Beyond. Because of what we just talked about with Tennessee and Mississippi State. They brought the nucleus back. And that's rare in today's age when you look around the nation and these teams winning and losing. The teams that usually stay ranked up high is a team that was able to bring that core group of guys back and add 2 or 3 pieces out of the transfer portal. That's what Alabama was able to do. They did it from the freshman standpoint, having a McDonald's come in, 2 McDonald's come in, and be able to go out there and put forth a good first effort as a freshman, which is, it's not likely nowadays. You really go get a junior out of the transfer portal or a 5th-year senior, but a freshman to be able to step in that system and thrive and be counted on like LeBaron Philon is that's tough. That's tough to deal with. So Vandy have their work cut out for them. It's been 13 teams ranked in the SEC. 13 teams in the SEC ranked in the top 25.
Crazy.
And that record could be broken if Vanderbilt were to go out and get a victory against Alabama this week. I'm sure they'll be in the top 25, and that's ranked somewhere throughout the year. Not saying it's 9 teams ranked right now in the top 25, but a total of 13 teams on the LSU, South Carolina, and Vanderbilt are the only ones that haven't been ranked sometime during the year. So Vanderbilt, they got their work cut out for them. They got a goal that they can hit. And another win like this on the road, regardless of who it's against, that helps at that bid for the tournament, man. You're going to continue to say that as it goes on. It's not going to be really about the losses. Like Vanderbilt can lose and go away, and it is what it is. You got another matchup on Saturday against probably another top 25 opponent. Same thing for Alabama. You can lose against an unranked opponent, and you'll be just fine. You'll be just fine. You can go get it back. So the wins are what's going to count. And Vanderbilt got that right there on their plate. So see if they can not have a hangover and go to Tuscaloosa and get it done.
Slay Dog checking in from Charlotte, North Carolina. While we've got you, let's go ahead and hit on last night's national championship game. Slay, Notre Dame got what they wanted to start. 18-play drive, 75 yards, 9:45 off the clock. And then Ohio State took over, 21 first half points, so 21-7 at halftime. What did you think about last night, Ohio State just rolling people through the college football playoff?
Yeah, they could have fooled me, boy. I thought Notre Dame came out, boy, and sheesh, that's the way you start.
Perfect.
And
it was perfect.
It was how it did. It wasn't an 87-yard pass, and it was smash mouth football. Like, we're going to be more physical than you. It ain't no gimmicks or anything. We coming straight at you, and that was pretty dope to see. That's how you set the tone. And then you saw what All-Americans and 25 million or 20 million, whatever else it is, what it looks like. Because if you make one mistake,
who was phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Man, I mean, like, that first half, he didn't miss a pass.
Uh-uh.
And here I am talking about, is he gonna show up like Sam Darnold did? And that answer was quickly no. It helps to have a guy out there like Jeremiah, boy. This young man, God, like, whew, it's amazing to watch him play, man. As smooth as he is, as big as he is, as rangy as he is, his catch radius, his coming in and out of breaks. like Notre Dame, man, even with injuries, that's not a bad defensive football team.
No,
like,
really good.
I hope people don't get it twisted. Like, man, what Ohio State did in this playoff, I want to say is unprecedented because of the run you had to go in. You talked about it all year. You're like going through this, man, and Babsy, you got to win 4 games.
Yeah.
Like, and then you got your conference championship. Like, it's like, whoa, what are we doing? You know, they ain't even getting no bye. they just ran through this thing. So, man, salute to them, what they did. I thought, as much as I don't like Ohio State, the press conferences by all of the players seemed to be telling of who they were. You know what I mean?
A special team.
I think Ryan Day is a little weird guy? Absolutely. I absolutely do. But did his players buy into what needed to be bought into and buying into each other more so than whatever he was talking about? I think you could have put any coach in that situation and the leaders on that team would have stepped up, had that team only meeting that we heard about going into that Tennessee game. And if you in, you in. If you not, you got to get out this locker room. And it showed. Like they had a higher calling, a bigger goal in mind than just winning a game and avenging that Michigan loss. Like that was pretty dope to see, man. And everybody to a man who spoke in the post game press conference all gave it up. You know what I mean? Their spirituality, the brotherhood that they had, not doing it for themselves rather than trying to go out and save face. It was really about a goal that they set out and they went to go conquer it. So that was dope to see, man.
You make a good point. Do you guys think that Ohio State wins the national title had that Michigan thing not happened? Because they had a chip on their shoulder, man.
Yeah, and I think, man, when you go through adversity, man, it's one of two things. You either going to run from it or you're going to come tighter together. And they came tighter together. Mm-hmm. It wasn't no ifs, ands, or buts, man. You always say, like, your character will be shown through times like that. And their character was shown. And I think you got to lean to the leaders. Like, they gave the other guys, the freshmen, the second-year guys, they gave them guys that transferred in, they gave them no other way to go about it. Like you either get it's you by force or by choice. You either getting on board or you getting the hell up out of here. Like we going, So that was. I mean, I got to give it up to the leaders, man. Like Ryan Day got it done. Chip Kelly was in his bag, so forth and so on. But them players, man, they got to be applauded for what they did.
Last poll of the regular season. The funny thing too, and Babs and I will talk about this later, but. Is Ryan Day still the Ohio State coach, if not for the 12-team playoff? Because you could make a case for them not getting in the 4. The last poll of the regular season, number 1, Oregon, number 2, Georgia, number 3, Texas, number 4, Penn State.
Yeah.
If not for the 12-team playoff, does Ryan Day even still have that job? That is a legit question.
That's a good question. And it's a question that we'll never know the answer to because
right.
They was in it. And when I say they waxed the playoffs, they waxed the playoffs. Everybody.
Knowing the history of Ohio State, though,
that was ahead of them, that would have been in the 14 playoff. We could also say, man, what if Ohio State played one of them teams? What would it have been like? Well, we know what it would have been like because they smacked them. They
did. And the Big Ten sits on top of the college football mountain.
Oh, stop.
All right, Slade Dog.
Hey, but you know what? You know what, though? You're to that point, though, it's going to be funny when, like, what we haven't heard through all of this college football playoffs, through this NIL, all of this, we haven't heard about teams going to the Big Ten and poaching players away. So now that they are, say they're on top, right? They sit in the top of the mountain. All right. So now it's going to be a little bit more difficult to hold on to them players. Like the people that were getting poached was Alabama. You know what I mean? Georgia's, Florida was getting poached, even with their talent. Like those were the teams that were getting taken away from. Texas, you know what I mean? USC, like those were the teams. It was never Ohio State and Michigan. They brought back their core group. They was like, no, we want to do more. And then they went out and attracted people and grabbed them out of the portal. So now since you reign supreme, now let's see how many of them players you're going to be able to keep because it's a little difficult to keep them guys now that they are worth more. You know what I mean? In this modern day NIL, now you're gonna have people knocking at the door for Jeremiah. You know what I mean? Like we never who expected what's buddy name that you did that game in Texas, left Alabama to go to was it Georgia?
Isaiah Bond.
Isaiah Bond, yep.
Isaiah Bond expected him after his year to vote and go to Texas. Right. Like when you on top, that's when they come to poach you. So let's see how they bring it back now then.
Yep. Ohio State and Notre Dame players now have 5 days to get into the portal because their season's over. So we'll see what kind of roster poaching's going on. Have fun tonight. Slay Dog on the SEC Network. We'll be watching, bro.
Yeah, buddy.
See you, man.
See you later.
Oh, yeah, there you go. When we come back, Jim Wyatt, TennesseeTitans.com. We'll talk about Borgonzi. We'll talk about Bones Fossil. What in the world's going on with Colt Anderson? All that coming up, 3HL 1045 The Zone. If you are often feeling tired, lacking motivation and drive, gaining weight, or noticing a loss of muscle mass, these could all be signs of low testosterone. Don't wait, find out. At Low T Center, they make it easy to get your levels checked. It's just a simple test, and with their on-site lab, you'll get your results back right there. Low T Center, not a typical doctor's office. Their physicians specialize in treating low T with testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, for each patient. The experts at Low T Center have more than a decade of experience helping patients, and super important, their personal treatment plans are optimized for each patient. These are not just basic standard treatments. They're done for you. For current patients, Low T Center offering a $150 referral credit for each new patient that you refer. And at Low T Center, you can also get your health evaluated for treatment with prescription GLP-1 weight loss medications. So get back to being your best. Go to lowtcenter.com to book your appointment. That's lowtcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
I love living in Middle Tennessee. We've got great restaurants, entertainment, sports, and one of the nation's top Ford dealers right here in our backyard. Two Rivers Ford. Remember that name. Two Rivers has been a staple in our community since 1983. They're locally owned. They have a non-commissioned sales team, and they sell below MSRP. They've been doing business with integrity for decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
3HL 1045 The Zone, Tupac Tuesday on the big show. Hope you're having a great day. Beautiful day out there. It is very, very cold.
It's freezing.
Thoughts and prayers to our homeless community out there, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, because it's been like this for, what, a week now?
A while.
Yeah.
Did you see what the low temperature is tonight?
Mm-mm.
Let me double check to make sure. 4.
Oh, that's tonight?
Yeah. 4.
You're all right, Zeph? I thought I heard Zeph groan from through the glass.
Yeah, no, I did. That sounds miserable.
Yeah, awful. My best friend Higby that lives in Pensacola Beach, Florida. They
You
have
talked to her
snow.
today?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She sent pictures.
I saw.
And it's still coming.
The latest I saw, and this was projections this morning, because I saw different things for Houston, but this morning they said 1 inch in Houston. And I lived there for a few years as a kid. I'm being completely serious. Coming from Tennessee to Houston, when we got on the bus one day, they had frost. And everyone on the bus thought it had snowed. I'm like, that's frost, y'all. Well, what's frost? I'm like, it's kind of difficult to explain, but, moisture on the ground, the dew point drops, freezes, frost.
So
I'm in the 3rd grade trying to explain that.
So the Tennessee Titans wide receivers coach, Tyke Tolbert, is in Baton Rouge right now.
Yeah.
Posted a picture on Twitter, almost 8 inches of snow in Baton Rouge.
It's crazy.
So,
Tiger Stadium video is out there all over the internet, and it's nuts. Did you ever think you'd see LSU's stadium covered in snow?
It's crazy. Baton Rouge is a weird place anyway.
And it's messing with the Saints head coach search. They had to cancel all their interviews today and push them back.
So crazy snow total forecast down south this morning. And I'll look again later in the show. Houston, like I said, 1 inch. New Orleans, 8.1 inches. New Orleans. They're below sea level. Mobile, Alabama, 5 inches. Miramar Beach, Florida, which is right next to Destin, 6 inches.
That's crazy.
6 inches at like Sandestin. Tallahassee, Florida, 2.2 inches. Savannah, Georgia.
Savannah.
4.6 inches at Savannah, Georgia. Crazy. 615-737-1045, always a number. Jim Wyatt joins us as he does every Tuesday. Jimmy, what's up? How are you?
How you guys doing today?
Hi, Jimmy.
Doing well. So what do you do when it's like 4 degrees outside? Do you go do you switch visor to like knit cap or something?
No, I still stick with visor. I just walk a little faster from the car to through the parking lot into the building.
I always debate that. Like if you walk faster, that means you're like more aerodynamic. You're cutting through the wind a little bit quicker, but you're getting there quicker. If you don't walk as fast, then the wind doesn't hit you as much. I don't know. Overthinking.
Yeah, I just hope it warms up. I heard you talking about Mobile. I've been paying attention to the weather down south, too. It's been pretty amazing. And at this time next week, we'll be heading to Mobile for the Senior Bowl. And, it's one thing watching those practices in 60. I always have thought it was cold maybe when it was 50 degrees down there watching practices. So I'm hoping it warms up a little bit between now and then.
Wow. I mean, Jim Nagy's done such a good job with that event. And in terms of like attracting roster, like have you noticed that over the course of the last several years that just the rosters have gotten better down there?
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's a great roster this year, and it's got so much more attention. The media coverage, this each year seems like it's growing and growing, and so I'm looking for that. I'm doing East-West Shrine for the first time ever.
Ooh.
I do that before I go to the Shrine, a couple of days of practices there before heading to Mobile. So I'm curious to see what that's about. That's another growing event, and that's where Shador Sanders is going to be.
Yep.
So,
and Titans coaches, right?
That's right. At least some
Or
of them.
one.
Brian Callahan will be there, and then I think Peyton McCollum is potentially going to be. I know he's been announced as assistant quarterbacks coach. We'll see if anybody else gets involved, but. So it started a busy stretch.
So I want to go back to Nagy real quick because his name has come up even for the Titans as an assistant GM possible candidate. I know eventually that's where he wants to move into the league in some kind of, front office position or scouting position. Just with what he does on a daily basis and how he's kind of transformed the Senior Bowl and what he does when it comes to scouting, how do you think that he would fit in some kind of a GM or scouting role in the league?
Well, I mean, he's done it so much. I mean, even before kind of taking over at the Senior Bowl, I know he was a scout for, what was then the Washington Redskins, and he was with the Patriots, he's been with the Chiefs, he's been with the Seahawks. So, I mean, he's done it before and has his record, his track record, at least his resume, he built it in large part because of his work in the NFL scouting community. What he's done with the Senior Bowl certainly just kind of speaks to his passion and wanting to grow the game and growing opportunities for some of these players coming into the league. I don't know. I've like you, I've seen his name mentioned as a possibility, not just here, but at other places. Just my dealings with him, just what I know about him. Yeah, I mean, I think he's kind of like Phil Savage, who had a similar background. I mean, those guys have a great reputation, and I know Jim Nagy, very well respected for his work in the league and some of the successful staffs he's been a part of, but just what he's been able to do with players and how well he's got along with executives across the league.
Jim Wyatt with us, TennesseeTitans.com every Tuesday. Jimmy, big day tomorrow. Over at the facility, the president of football operations, Chad Brinker, will be made available to the media at 10 a.m. General Manager Mike Borgonzi at 11 will have his press conference, his introductory press conference. What do you know about Mike Borgonzi? All we know is that he was the most desired candidate on the GM list, according to people in the NFL, and according to people in the NFL, they didn't think the Titans could get him, but they do. How big of a hire is that? What do you know about him?
Well, I think it's a great hire. I mean, you talk about somebody with a great reputation. He kind of worked his way up in the Chiefs organization and is considered somebody who's had a very big influence on what they've done over the years. And I think, kind of like you said, Brent, I mean, I think a lot of people thought it might go a different direction, and a lot of people, obviously, and I understand it, were wanting to, steer it toward other candidates who came in here, especially Sullivan, who he worked with in Green Bay. But
right.
I know that Sullivan probably would have been an easier pick for Chad Brinker because of the relationships they have and how comfortable they are and because of how good of friends they are. I think Chad Brinker and Mike Borgonzi have similar backgrounds, but they never worked together. And I think after this whole process finished and they talked to 10 different people, I think he felt like that was his most all-around candidate and his most qualified candidate. And so instead of hiring a friend, you hire a guy that is considered a really good football mind, again, with a great reputation. And I think is a great hire. And I think he's going to have, people try to minimize maybe what his role is going to be here, and that's a big mistake. He's going to be in charge of the 53-man roster. He's going to help build this team. He's going to change the direction of what he wants this team to look like. Yes, I know it's been out there that Chad Brinker is going to have final say or break ties in the 53-man roster, but all across the league, you've got people that are. It could be the owner, it could be the GM, could be the director of player personnel, could be the coach. Somebody's always got that power, but I think more times than not, you work together and you identify the right players to build the team. So Mike Borgonzi is going to build this team. It's going to have his fingerprints all over it. Again, he's got a great track record in being around people that have done that. And certainly Chad Brinker is going to have influence, just like he's had some influence here since he's been here. But that was a great hire, and anybody that's trying to minimize what his role is going to be is kind of exposing themselves for not being in the know.
Okay, so along those lines, you feel like maybe some read too deep into the Brinker Miss Amy statements about who was going to be in control. I feel like this has been a conversation the last 3 years about the Titans of, okay, well, who's the decision maker? Who's in control? Which is probably why Amy felt like she had to establish that pecking order. But was there too much read into the actual statements that were released when they were talking about what they were looking for in a GM?
Yeah, and I don't know where that initially came from. I mean, I kind of think what you're referring to is maybe what Burke. I did a story with Burke and Chad, I guess.
That's what it was.
It was Burke. Yep.
Yeah, and so that's maybe when an interview I did with him. I think that's maybe what got the most legs, and I'm going to try to pull up exactly what he said. I think this organization has tried to be very transparent in what they're doing, and I think in the past, I think some people have questioned exactly, what was going on behind the scenes and who was making the final call. And I think Burke and Amy both said that they want to have players. Here's a quote that you're talking about. I think Burke Nihill said Chad Brinker will break ties with respect to the 53-man roster. And Burke said it is important to Amy to have absolute clarity in the football organization. So while the general manager will have primary responsibility in all these things, Chad is describing, Chad is the leader of the football program. He will have final authority on all football matters, including the roster. So I think what she and Burt were trying to do at that time, and it did get a lot of attention, is just trying to get some clarity that a lot of organizations I don't think necessarily do. And I do think some of that was blown out of proportion, thinking that, people thinking the GM's going to do all the work, and then eventually or ultimately Chad Brinker is going to use a trump card and override him. I just don't think that's how this is going to play out. I think Chad Brinker is going to give Mike Borgonzi authority to build this roster. Yeah, there may be occasions from time to time where you need an extra voice in there, but and again, a lot of this will be talked about tomorrow, so I don't want to speak ahead of them, but I think what they're going to lay out is a plan that involves Borgonzi being the roster builder and ultimately Chad maybe having an influence on it as well.
Well, one of the things that I wondered when you got that quote was, they get Mike Borgonzi, what will we hear, to your point, what will we hear tomorrow, and how have things maybe changed since that comment you got to how this organizational structure will actually evolve? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a lot of people again thought when this hiring process started, well, who are they going to get? Nobody's going to want to come work in this current structure, and kind of made light of the job itself, and a de facto GM is how people described it. And I think initially this process started with them potentially interviewing 4 candidates. It ended up growing to 10. They had to cut it off because so many people were involved, and look at the people who interviewed. Some really good candidates, and as you mentioned, Brett, potentially the best candidate on the market decides to come here.
That's right.
So, so it was a good hiring process. They got a very qualified general manager, and then we'll see. We'll just have to see how it plays out. I haven't met Mike Borgonzi yet. So I don't know exactly what is going to be said publicly tomorrow, but based on everything I've heard since the hiring has taken place, it'll be a great job. GM's going to be in control of the roster, and there's no question about that.
Interesting hire yesterday, Bones Fossil, Jim Fossil's son, doing great special teams work around the league last year in Dallas, number one in numerous categories. Big hire there.
Yeah, I mean, I think it brings a little moxie here. Certainly done it for a long time. Got a great personality. Been had very productive special teams just since he's been hired. I've seen guys like Keith Bullock and certainly Derek Mason and I think Roger Saffold, 3 former Titans, all spoke up about him on Twitter, just about what a good coach he is, what a good guy he is. He's innovative. He's a guy who certainly is known to even run some trick plays, keep opposing teams guessing. I talked to Coach Mack about him last night. He worked with him in L.A. He's raving about him and just what he brings. The team hasn't officially announced that yet because I think a lot of times, at least coaches in the past, have wanted to get some more things settled in the staff before they, instead of announcing them one by one. But certainly that's a really, really good hire at a place on the roster that I think everybody felt like needed to be addressed.
See, and I think that kind of hire illustrates what you're talking about with regard to many people in the building having a say on what the roster looks like. I think going into the season, when you're coming down to cut day, I think if I'm Brian Callahan, if I'm Chad Brinker, if I'm Mike Borgonzi, I'm asking Bones Fossil, like, hey, man, between this guy and this guy, what do you need on special teams?
Yeah, I definitely think that's true. And, I think the way things played out last year, again, we know how much this team struggled on special teams last year. And during the course of the season, it was, I've seen, special teams changes made during the course of the season. Whether it was Bobby April or whether it was Craig Ackerman, in each of those cases, you had a veteran on the staff that you could step in and finish the job. I think this year with Colt Anderson, there wasn't anybody that you could turn to in the middle of the season. And I do think that Brian Callahan last year, as he was putting staff together, considered hiring a veteran coach to lead the group, but just didn't really ever find anybody he was completely comfortable with. Now, things are different with Fossil on the market. And to get him, again, talked about Borgonzi, and he had some other choices and other people interested in him he picked here. I think Fossil the same way. I mean, there's a whole bunch of coaches out there, head coaches that are going to be looking for guys to fill out their coaching staff. And I guarantee you, John Fossil would have been at the top of a lot of people's list. He decides to come here because of Brian Callahan, and I think that was an outstanding hire.
Jim Wyatt with us on 3HL on the way out. Hey, congrats on a big weekend for you and your Vanderbilt Commodore crew. 2 1-point wins in basketball. Really cool.
Just dominating Tennessee.
Wow,
yeah, it was
that
good.
far, Babs.
Yep. It was good. So, I mean, that was, sometimes I questioned. I mean, kids storm courts for any time they get a chance. Vanderbilt was a 5-point underdog, and they beat a team that I think is probably a little overhyped. So I don't know if I'd have rushed the court for that one, but I was happy that they won.
Jimmy with a little shot there. I love it. Hey, appreciate it, man. Have fun tomorrow getting to know all the guys, and we'll talk with you next week, brother.
Okay, y'all have a good one. Appreciate it.
All right, there he is, Jim Wyatt at Jay Wyatt Sports. I mean, long-suffering Vanderbilt fan. Long time. Went to Tennessee, but, that's neither here nor there. When we come back, we've got some college football nuggets. Ohio State rolling through the college football playoff. 615-737-1045 if you want in. Calvin's going to check in from snowy Houston next as well.
Ooh.
If you want in, we do have lines open behind Calvin. 615-737-1045. I want to tell you about my friends at Brentwood Jewelry. They could be your friends, too. They should be your friends as well. All of your gifting responsibilities throughout the course of the year, these guys can help you out. Valentine's Day is coming up. Get to know the Imamali family at Brentwood Jewelry. BrentwoodJewelry.com is the website. For more than 50 years, Brentwood Jewelry has been proudly serving the Brentwood community and all of Nashville with exceptional style and exceptional deals every day. As a family-owned and operated business spanning 3 generations, they are deeply rooted in this community. From Salem Imamali's service in the Special Forces to his son serving as local firefighters, the Imamali family dedicated to giving back And this is a time where supporting local is imperative. Shop Brentwood Jewelry. Brentwood Jewelry here to help you pop the question. Let them help you take the stress out of selecting the perfect engagement ring. They can help you find a beautiful ring in your ideal budget. Browse their incredible selection of one-of-a-kind rings, or talk with their custom design specialists to create a stunning ring as remarkable as your loved one. And you can get it done at Brentwood Jewelry. They've got everything you need jewelry-wise. Go check them out. 7012 Church Street in the heart of Brentwood, just off Franklin Road. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for more than 50 years. Visit BrentwoodJewelry.com. HL 1045 The Zone. Put your ass out. You might want to get out of this song. What up, Babsy?
What up?
Was it cold outside?
Yep. I just checked it. I got pictures from my Pensacola Beach people, and it's like pouring snow there.
Yeah, I just looked up Destin on Weather Channel, 3 to 5 inches.
Yeah.
100% chance of snow.
Woo!
So I called Babs earlier today to kind of, I know we don't seem organized, and part of that is the beauty of what we do, and I think it's important for us to be able to free flow based on the style of our personalities. But I did call you today, and we were talking about like some of the things that we had seen online that we could talk about today, and all of a sudden I hear, Zeph, I'm not kidding, all hell break loose behind Babs. I mean, dogs going nuts. And at one point I thought I heard Hadley scream. And I knew she was at daycare. But in my head, and Babs like, I got to go. I'll call you back. And I was like, oh, Lord have mercy.
Little man has a little man's complex, the small dog, the mini Aussie. And so anytime there's food on the counter, he has started attacking the other dogs.
Jeez.
Well, not Big Boy. He won't attack Patton because Patton's the alpha, but
Palmer.
Yeah, Palmer attacks Charlie.
So isn't it funny how even like with people, this obviously happens, but even with dogs, like their personalities change over time, right? Like, so now you're in a mode where you got to feed one separately from the others, right?
Yep. That's where we are. 3 separate rooms now. It's all because of the little one. He's the one that's on anxiety meds. Freaking disaster. I mean, why can't I have normal dogs?
Well, why? I mean, like, I know no one that has more stress in their life than you. It's always something, man.
It's always something. Always.
104.5 The Zone, headed to the Senior Bowl thanks to Lyons Ford and Mark Spain Real Estate. Listen and subscribe to Football and Other F Words as they bring a show each day from the 2025 Reese's Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, January 28th through February 1st. For more information, visit 1045thezone.com. I always feel like I have to say Alabama, like Keith Jackson.
Alabama. I'm excited.
About?
To watch Senior Bowl stuff, to hear about it. I'm excited for all these.
Even the East-West Shrine game.
East-West Shrine game, for all of these kind of things to happen. Even if there's no Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders isn't going to play or whatever. I'm just excited to hear what comes out of interviews and talking and everything. I mean, this is kind of the beginning. I mean, not the beginning for scouts. They've been they've been scouting for the whole year, but it's kind of the beginning of where info starts to come out and you get more of a feel for some of these players. So I think Zach's gone the last couple of years to Senior Bowl.
He has. Yep. That's a big thing for him.
So that'll be good. It'll be nice to hear what he has to say.
Remember last year in the Senior Bowl, Quinyon Mitchell was the cornerback that you loved from covering him a couple of times.
Remember, because I had those midweek MAC games, so I saw him like 4 times. I'm like, he's legit.
In the Senior Bowl and ended up. Where did he get drafted? Second round, or did he get into the first round?
No, he was in the first round.
He was in the first round. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to kind of see. And to your point, everybody will start talking about particular players, and you'll start to see like mock draft movement. And Shedeur Sanders participating in the East-West Shrine game with at least one Titans coach on the offensive side of the ball. Speaking of snow cities that don't normally get it, that are getting it now, Calvin in Houston, H-Town. Calvin, what's up, man? How are things down there?
Hey, guys, I'm in the building.
Yes, you are.
Up, Calvin?
What's up?
What's happening in Houston, man? How are y'all dealing with the snow, man?
Man, look. I look at like 8 a.m., well, about 7:30, 8 a.m. I woke up and I looked at ABC News. We've been covering it all day long. I-10, bro, looks like a ghost town. There's nobody on it. Katy Freeway, nobody. It's nothing but snow. You can't even see the lines.
That's crazy.
You might see the occasional service truck or whatever they come out there, and you know what I'm saying, and then you have a car turn this way, got a tow truck trying to get him this way, you know what I mean? Like, it's kind of crazy, bro. Like,
I saw some pictures in Houston of snowplows that they had gotten from Dallas and El Paso that had sent snowplows down there.
Had to borrow them?
Because we're not built for that here, bro.
Dude.
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, y'all just deal with flooding when the bayous go over the limit.
dude, I actually kind of work. I work in the Galveston area, Galveston, the seawall.
Yeah.
You can't even tell from sand to snow.
Oh, that's so nice.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow, you're saying Galveston's actually beautiful for once.
Right. It's picturesque. Yeah. It's picturesque. Yeah.
What you got on Titans GM, Calvin?
I actually like the hire, man. To be honest with y'all, I like the hire. Only if they let him do his job, like kind of, I don't know, step back and let him do his thing. Like they let Floyd Reese. Floyd was my favorite of all time GM we ever had.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this guy could be a Floyd Reese. He's that type. But I think you got to let him step back and let him do his job like they let Floyd do. Bro, the guy was involved with Mahomes draft and Chris Jones, all these cats. And then look what it turned. Yep. They went from 2 wins to 3 Super Bowl wins, bro. Like, it's to me, it's a no-brainer. That was the best hire if they let him do his job. And I'm going to let y'all go on off of that. And I love you guys. Thanks.
Hey, Calvin, watch out, man. Survive that snowstorm, dude.
We got it, bro. We got it.
I don't know that you got it.
Thanks, Calvin.
Have you seen pictures and videos from Houston?
Yeah.
No, like.
They don't know what to do.
I saw a TV reporter.
That's like Dallas.
I saw a TV reporter on the interstate, like he was talking about, and she said there have been no cars that have come down the interstate in like 3 minutes. Think about that.
Which is probably a good thing.
Right, stay there.
They don't know what to do. Yeah, you can't handle it when you didn't grow up in it.
You can't handle the snow. Quick note, we're hoping to get time with Mike Borgonzi tomorrow, as a matter of fact, on 3HL. So that's a little memo to you guys.
Well, aren't you just dropping a nugget?
We'll see.
Borgonzi.
Preds have won 3 in a row, and 5 out of 7. They host San Jose tonight at 7 o'clock at Bridgestone Arena. Sharks are tied with Chicago for last in the NHL. So let's go get win number 4 in a row, Preds. Ohio State rolls through the college football playoff with double-digit wins in all 4 games. Buckeyes take out Notre Dame 34-23. We'll talk about it next. 3HL 104.5 The Zone.
All right, want to tell you about my friends at Loan Pronto, started by a guy, Roger Moore, the owner and founder of Loan Pronto. He said, you know what, there's got to be an easier and a better way so you're not buried in paperwork, more of a quicker process. So what did he do? Simplified the process and started Loan Pronto. And the best part, their ability to get you, the consumer, the lowest rate. Starts off all electronic, all digital. There's no extra hidden fees. You can hop on loanpronto.com and go ahead and start the entire process. Did you know 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Yeah. Right now, they have some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s when you're talking APR. So if your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Go ahead and start the process on loanpronto.com. You could even skip your next 2 house payments. 615-499-5780, loanpronto.com. No hard credit pull, no upfront fees. That's loanpronto.com at 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval, NMLS consumeraccess.org.
Good afternoon. It's 4:01. I'm Joseph Bonanno live from the 104.5 The Zone studios. The Titans have announced that they will hold an introductory press conference for new general manager Mike Borgonzi on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Chad Brinker, president of football operations, is also scheduled to meet with the media at 10 a.m. for a quote-only session before Borgonzi speaks. In NFL news, just a few moments ago, the Vikings and coach Kevin O'Connell have agreed to terms on a multi-year contract extension. Conversations are also underway on an extension for Vikings GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Minnesota is 34-17 since they took over in 2022, and the plan is to keep the brain trust together. Earlier today, Ian Rappaport reported that Lions DC Aaron Glenn is set to visit with the Jets today, and the team's goal is to keep him from leaving the building. There is no deal right now, but if all goes well, he could end the day as head coach of New York. In college hoops tonight, Vanderbilt heads to Alabama to face the number 4 Crimson Tide at 6 o'clock. Number 6 Tennessee looks to bounce back from Saturday's loss as they return home to face number 14 Mississippi State. Tip-off for that one is at 6. And you can catch the Ball Network call of the game right here on The Zone starting at 5:30. For your foundation repair and waterproofing needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and Balls. This 104.5 The Zone.
Three HL 104.5 The Zone. Britt Doherty with you on a beautifully cold day in the Music City. Hope you're doing well. You can watch the show live, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch.
Twitch, please.
There she is, Babsy Davenport.
What up? Happy Tuesday, people. Hope you're staying warm.
Slay Dog in Charlotte, North Carolina. Yeah, it's cold out there. This just in.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll have another, relatively big snowfall this year? Or do you think we're done?
I don't know. We always have one in, March. Yeah. End of March, almost, where you're like, wait, it should be spring. What are we doing?
Coming up at 4:20, Brian Callahan did an exclusive sit-down with Easton Freeze with A to Z Sports, where he detailed the power structure of the Tennessee Titans. We'll hit that. Also, Jim Wyatt, who joined us earlier, kind of talked about that as well in terms of roster control, and said the GM has more hand than you think, basically. So we'll kind of work through that at 4:20. We are done today at 5:30. The Vol Network coverage of number 14 Mississippi State at number 6 Tennessee begins at 5:30. Tip-off right around 6 o'clock. Ohio State Babs rolls through the college football playoff with double-digit wins in all 4 games. Buckeyes take out Notre Dame 34-23. In a one-score game with 2:45 left, Ohio State with the ball on 3rd down and 11. Notre Dame trying to get it back, down 1 score. And Will Howard drops back to throw and goes deep. 56 yards to the freshman Jeremiah Smith. Ball game, Buckeye, natty. Started well for Notre Dame. Exactly how they wanted. Take the air out of the ball, so to speak. Keep that Ohio State offense on the sideline. 18-play drive, 75 yards, 9:45 off the clock. But Ohio State scored the next 31 points.
Yikes.
Right?
I know. Well, so the beginning of that game, I'm like, okay, this is exactly what Notre Dame has to do to win this. Keep the ball out of Ohio State's hands. You know, I thought their defense was good enough, and they weren't, to be able to contain them. But I don't know about you. Marcus Freeman's interview at half, I felt like he was shook. Did you feel that in him talking? I felt like he was basically felt like, oh, crap, what are we going to do? We cannot stop them.
Here's what I think about Notre Dame. I feel like they had to go through this, and I think they'll be back and they'll be better and better for it. And I think Marcus Freeman will be better. He's an incredible coach. And we talked about, the ability to make Notre Dame likable is incredible.
Yeah.
But to get his team to bounce back from that Northern Illinois thing, where they lose to a team at home as a 30-point favorite, 28, and Northern Illinois
do what they did,
goes on to lose 4 MAC games. But, to bounce from that, Ohio State did the same thing. They bounced from the Michigan thing. So it's really interesting, and I think they're going to be. I think they're going to be better for it. I think they're a very solid football program for sure, and was very impressed by what Notre Dame was able to do this year.
But I also felt like defensively, they played man to man, and they could not hang.
Tennessee did the same thing.
Same thing. Like Ohio State they just better athletes, better players. They could not cover them. Period. And it just got ugly.
Would you like to share what you just said in my ear?
No.
Don was talking about better this, better that. And Zeph goes in my ear and he goes, better pizza, better toppings, better ingredients, Papa John's.
I don't know why that came in my head. But
better athletes. What are you doing, Zeph?
You need that Bob
Uecker.
To
focus.
You need that Bob Uecker drop right there.
Good job, Zeph.
Is the Big Ten now the king of the college football mountain? That is the question. You just rolled your eyes at me. I mean, they've won the last 2 national titles.
They have.
The SEC hasn't even been involved in the game the last 2 years.
Yep.
Ohio State went through Tennessee and Texas. Notre Dame knocked out Georgia.
Yep.
Ohio State will continue to spend on that roster, right? Michigan will be back on some level, right?
Mm-hmm. IU is.
Look at Indiana moving forward with Cignetti.
A team now.
Drew Allard, both running backs are back at Penn State. Now, you go to the SEC, you've got Arch Manning era beginning in Texas. Mm-hmm. Tennessee still has Nico. I just looked at Tennessee's 2 deep, and it's really good. Even without transfers. They've gotten 3 transfers. Running back from Duke, what do you know about him?
Star Thomas?
Mm-hmm.
Legit.
Yeah.
Small, but dude is legit. So
probably
he took
a part
over.
of a 3 running back system at Tennessee next year. I think they go back to that, which is what they did the year before.
And that's what Star Thomas ended up getting all of the carries because the guy in front of him got hurt. Mm-hmm. And then that's how they kind of realized, oh, wow, this kid's legit.
Yeah.
But I think he would bode well in not having to be the only guy to get all the carries. But man, that kid runs tough.
Yep. Tennessee with an all-conference left tackle transfer coming in, who gave up 3 pressures and 1 sack all year, something like that. And then the receiver from Alabama, but they'll probably be active in the spring period now with Jermod McCoy getting the ACL. Mm-hmm. And every ACL is different. But if you think 6 months on it, 7 months, he's back in time for the season. So
maybe not.
We'll see what
maybe
goes on
not
there.
Completely back mentally, but back in time. Yeah.
But you've got Georgia in transition. You've got Florida should be better, right, with DJ Lagway. Mm-hmm. They got tougher and better down the stretch of the season.
Auburn should be better.
Auburn will be better
without Peyton Thorne. Addition by subtraction.
Ole Miss moving on from Jackson Dart. That'll be interesting. Will Bama bounce back? Ty Simpson, I guess, going to be the quarterback from Martin, Tennessee. Nussmeier back at LSU. I've got some interesting nuggets on Nussmeier a little bit later.
LSU's going to be fascinating to watch because don't you just feel like
pressure's fully on?
Yes,
Brian
and you just feel like
Kelly.
They're right there to just mentally break. Like Brian Kelly is right there for it just all to blow up. You know, all the videos of him yelling at players on the sideline, and it's just like they are a quarter of an inch away from just losing it. Can't wait to watch it.
What will the losing it dance be for Brian Kelly is the question. What will Texas A&M be?
We've seen pieces of it.
So
and I wouldn't count out Elko to build.
Right. I asked you this question earlier. Is Ryan Day still the head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes, if not for the 12-team playoff?
No. I mean, that fan base
totally
wanted him fired after Michigan, and then
they wouldn't have been in.
If they didn't beat Tennessee, that fan base, I mean, there were talks of him being fired if they did not win a playoff game.
The last poll of the regular season was Oregon 1, Georgia 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4. They wouldn't have been in. They would have come off the 4th consecutive loss to Michigan. He would have been fired. And now he's a national championship winning coach.
Penn State people want to fire James Franklin because he can't win the big ones. Now they were able to win, obviously, a playoff game because of the seeding. We won't go there. That'll change
an easier trek then.
They had an easier route, yes. No doubt.
Crazy note from our friend Matt Hayes in Jacksonville. Notre Dame was called for an offensive holding last night. I think it was in the second series. And
it should have been a no call.
Well, offensive holding happens all the time, right? Like, you can call it whenever you want. But what's interesting about this is, from Matt Hayes' perspective, and I didn't know this is a great pull from him, but Ohio State opponents never get called for holding on offense. That was the first holding call for an Ohio State opponent on offense since September 21st against Marshall. 748 plays without an opponent being called for holding on offense. How crazy is that? Also, how do you come up with that stat?
I don't know.
Where do you dig that up, Matt Hayes? From me. Ohio State quarterback Will Howard, bad in the loss to Michigan, 19-33, 175 yards and 2 interceptions. Did have the 1 touchdown pass. But in the college football playoff, great. And you are as good as your quarterback allows you to be.
He was so good.
In the playoffs, 4 games, 75.2% completions. 75%. 1,150 yards in 4 games. That's 288 yards per game. 8 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Congrats, Will Howard. Last night, 17.
Does that...
I know where you're going. NFL draft?
Yeah. It has to change that. I mean, there's people in our chat already that are like, oh, Will Howard, Titans.
Until we ask Greg Cosell about him.
Yeah.
And then he'll evaluate his tape. Will Howard last night, 17-21, 231 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ohio State on the ground, 41 carries, 214 yards, 2 touchdowns. I mean, what did we say going into the playoffs? I said Ohio State is a prohibitive favorite right after the Tennessee game because they can run the ball and stop the run.
Mm-hmm. Well, and Notre Dame got 0 pressure on Will Howard.
0
all night.
Jeremiah Smith, 5 receptions, 88 yards, and a touchdown. He had the big 56-yarder on 3rd down and 11 in an 8-point game. 615-737-1045. The other thing about Will Howard, real quick on the way out, and when we come back, we'll talk Titans football. Brian Callahan did an exclusive sit-down with Easton Freeze, A to Z Sports, where he detailed the power structure of the front office. Also, Jim Wyatt addressed that earlier in the show, so we'll play those 2 comments for you when we come back. But it's okay to be a great college football player and not be a star in the NFL, right? Like, it's okay. And people get caught up in stats and production.
Nowadays, it's really okay.
Right. And people get caught up in the stats and the production and translate that into, future NFL success, and it just doesn't work that way. So, over the course...
Come on. The most obvious example is Tim Tebow.
Yes.
I mean, everybody, even non-football people, know that.
I mean, all those Houston quarterbacks back when they were throwing Hawaii, like throwing for all these yards and production and all this stuff, and it doesn't translate. And that's okay. But over the course of the next few months, make sure you tune in when we have Greg Cosell on, and he will be evaluating all of these potential NFL players. So that's kind of where we will get our information for sure. When we come back, Titans Talk, power structure, Brian Callahan, Jim Wyatt, both speak on it next. 3HL 1045 The Zone. Belmont basketball is in action this week. Head over to the Curb Event Center tonight to cheer on the Bruins as they host the Bradley Braves. That is a big, big game in the MVC. Tickets start at $10. Visit BelmontBruins.com for schedule and ticket information. It's Bruin time. Was just looking at odds to win the conference today, as a matter of fact. And Bradley, number 1. Belmont, number 4. So a big big game tonight over at Curb Event Center. Again, tickets just $10. It's a great place to take the kids and have a family fun time with the Belmont Bruins. Bruin fans, single game tickets on sale now. Make sure you stop by the ticket office or go online and purchase at BelmontBruins.com. That's the website. Don't miss out on all the free giveaways and promotions all season long. Again, tickets starting at just $10. Great product. Great game tonight. Ticket representative standing by now. You can text or call 615-460-BALL. If you text someone, we'll text you back right away. Again, that's 615-460-2255, 615-460-2255, or visit BelmontBruins.com. Belmont basketball, it's Bruin time. 3HL 104.5 The Zone. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport with you. Slay Dog is in Charlotte. He'll be on the SEC Network coming up tonight. Final AP poll is out. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Notre Dame. No shocker there. But where do we go from there? Number 3, Oregon. Number 4, Texas. Number 5, Penn State. So 3 of the top 5 Big Ten teams. Midwest is having a good time, huh? With regard to college football. And all that just means more jokes.
Yes.
So the Big Ten traded good college football teams to the SEC for snow. So we got snow. They got good college football.
Well done, Zeph Dog. Number 6, Georgia. Arizona State. Watch out for those guys moving forward. Ranked number 7. Boise State, 8 in the final AP poll, followed by the Tennessee Volunteers. Quick note there, Tennessee finishes inside the top 10 for the second time in 3 seasons. That is the first time they have done that since they were in the top 10 in 5 straight seasons, 1995 to 1999. It's been a minute since Tennessee's been this good. Number 10, Indiana. Babsy's husband's team.
That's right.
Signetti.
I'm banking on the orange and blue Christmas lights for next year at the house.
What did he have, 23 transfers, and most of them coming from James Madison?
Which is crazy. And they were able to do what they did with James Madison transfers.
That's right.
I mean, there's a lot of those kids that had 0 offers elsewhere.
11 through 15, Ole Miss at 11, SMU, BYU, Clemson, Iowa State. 16, Illinois. 17, Alabama. Last time Alabama finished outside of the top 10 was 2007, Nick Saban's first year. They finished unranked that year. So maybe DeBoer will do what Saban did. Or he'll find intense pressure next year and lose 4 games again. Don't do that. If you're DeBoer.
That fan base can't handle it.
Oh, no. You'll be gone.
Feinbaum would be explosion.
Dude, if he goes 9-4 again, they're gone. He's gone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Alabama 17th. Miami 18. South Carolina. Big surprise season there at number 19. And I'm going to tell you about Lenora Sellers in just a little bit. I've got the from FanDuel 2025 Heisman odds, and Lenora Sellers is on that list. What an unbelievable, like when you talk about growth in a player, when he first got out there to the end of the season, I mean, you went from a guy that you didn't even worry about to a guy that you had to game plan against and was going to make plays.
Mm-hmm.
Number 20, Syracuse, Tennessee's opening opponent.
Do they have a quarterback yet?
I have
Not
not
that I haven't
seen one, yes.
There will be a portal one, I'm sure.
So we also have, in just a little while, college football opening week odds for you for some of the game. We've got 10 games for you, 10 of the bigger games, including Syracuse and Tennessee. Number 21, Army. Check it out. Army in the top 25 to close the season. Missouri at 22. 10 and, what were they, 10-3? And finished 22.
Drink.
UNLV 23, Memphis 24, inside the top 25 for the Memphis Tigers. Good job there. Colorado 25th. So that is what's going on in the final AP poll. 615-737-1045. Going to get to some Titans topics in just a second. Blake and Franklin, though. Blake, what's up?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing, Brent?
Krieger, what are you doing, man?
Man, I have been trying to get a hold of you about this Vandy game.
The Vandy basketball game?
I mean, yeah.
Men or women? Because both of them are not
great.
Babs.
Babs just swinging, Craig.
Coming off the top rope, Babs. I feel you. So, I mean, I hear you. Good ball. Here's my question. Why did we let Zakai sit on the bench so long? Is it because he's trying to find a point guard? or is it because he just didn't trust him with 2 fouls? Because I feel like that's where we lost the game. And if we're trying to find a point guard, we don't have one other than Zakai. So that's going to be a problem coming into the tournament.
I didn't see. Zeph, did you see anything from Barnes about sitting Zakai that long?
Did, but I can't remember what he said. I'm going to go find it.
There you go. I don't know. My guess would be fearful of picking up 3. But I don't know. That's a good – like, Zakai Zeigler never needs to come off the floor. I don't care how many fouls he has. Just let him play until he fouls out.
That's my point. That's what I'm saying, because we started making our run when we put him back in the game, but we were so far down that, I mean, we were lucky to be where we were at.
I mean, true in a lot of cases in life. That's true.
Well, you know that, baby. Well, listen, I appreciate y'all, and I love listening to you. And Babs, I'm going to be there in Auburn on Saturday, and probably go. Yeah, we're going to get you. We're going to get you Saturday. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
yeah, we'll see.
College game day is there.
It's going to be fun.
Yeah.
Let's go. All right. Hey, appreciate y'all. Love y'all.
See you, Blake. Love you. 615-737-1045.
By the way,
Craig's trained a lot of baseball kids in this community and still does. Robert Hassel being one of them. And I've told this story a lot. That dude's probably going to be in the major leagues this year. When he was 12, went into Krieger's batting cage, and Kriegs was throwing BP to this kid. I walk in, and I hear, like, I see a 12-year-old, 11, 12, like, I didn't know how old he was, but somewhere around 12, in the cage, and I didn't think anything of it until I heard the crack of the bat, and it was different. And so when Blake got done with that throwing session with Robert Hassel, he came over, and I was like, who in the hell is this kid? And he goes, that dude is going to play in the major leagues one day. He said that when he was 12 years old.
Wow.
He might have been 11.
Sometimes you just know.
Yeah. So shout out Robert Hassel. He's from here. And get that major league shot this year. Zeph, you got something?
Yeah, so what Rick Barnes said about sitting Zakai in those final 7 minutes and 10 seconds, he said, we weren't going to risk it because I thought we could just hold it right there. It was a 6-point game, and we were just right there. So he felt that they could keep the game intact without Zakai, and unfortunately it didn't pan out that way.
They could not. Turns out. It's early.
Well, so
it's early.
Going back, the thing about that game is in the second half, they came out and they got it within a 1-point game, and then Vanderbilt came out and shot 4 straight threes in a row and took a 13-point lead. And then Tennessee just couldn't get back until the very end of the game when it was a little too late.
104.5 The Zone, broadcasting live from New Orleans at Radio Row. Tune in as 3HL talks with tons of special guests that you won't hear anywhere else. February 5th through the 7th. Our Radio Row coverage is brought to you by Rude, who is proud to partner locally with MJ Frick. For more information or to listen on demand, visit 1045thezone.com. Brian Callahan did a sit-down with A to Z Sports, an exclusive sit-down. The entire thing will be released on Friday. They released a little bit of it today, and so you can find A to Z Sports on all their socials, also the website, and you can find the entire thing. But interesting stuff with Easton Freeze today. And this first cut, Easton asked him about the how and why of the front office structure.
What's your opinion on kind of a unique power structure you guys have in I guess, bifurcating the GM responsibilities for what Chad is doing? What's the point?
Well, I think I guess it is a bit unique around the league, but there's been places that have done things like this before. When I was in Denver, John Elway was the president of football ops, and, though we had GM people, we had Brian Zanders at one point there. We had Matt Russell that I think had the GM title. I can't quite recall the titles, but it was a very similar setup. So it's not something that I haven't seen before. There's just so much that goes into these GM jobs nowadays, and it's really challenging for one person to manage all of it and build the roster. And there's just so much that goes into it that having really two talented, diverse ways of thinking, I think really is an advantage to an organization, the way that we're set up. I mean, Chad's experiences with Mike's experiences and mine, we've all seen championship teams. We've all been to Super Bowls. We've all won one. And I think all of that melds into a pretty good melting pot of ideas and experiences that I think can help us really improve our football team. So, structure-wise, it doesn't really feel much different to me in terms of the day-to-day, but everything we do, we still work together on. Very rarely at any point is anybody, walking up to the draft board and getting their hands slapped down because, no, I'm in charge of this and I'm in charge of that. That doesn't happen. We all work together trying to do the best we can for the organization, and our goal is to build a winning team as quickly as we possibly can.
Brian Callahan talking about the structure of the front office. I mean, ultimately, whatever you can do to make it as seamless as possible. And it seems like Amy's been trying to do that for a long time.
Just win.
Winning cures all evils, but
yeah. Put together a roster that can win.
So Easton Freeze asking him, why is this rare in the NFL? Why don't we see more franchise do it this way?
That's hard to say. I think every organization operates from a little bit different. What they see, the organization needs. Sometimes they have other people that do those things, and you don't really know it either. There's sometimes their president operates and runs some of the outside peripheral things that the GM doesn't. So I think it varies from organization to organization. I just know that the way that we're set up, I think, is probably you're going to start to see a little bit more of it as these organizations continue to get bigger. The staffs have gotten bigger on both sides, both in personnel and in coaching. And you're seeing also the support staffs getting bigger. You have more security people, you have more operations people, your equipment staff, your training staff, your grounds crew. These are all things that get run in the operation of a day-to-day basis. And there's a lot that goes on. And so you want your GM to focus on building the best roster possible and managing the scouting staff, both the pro and the college, and making sure that we're on the same space and direction on that side. And then there's all the other things that happen on a day-to-day basis that people don't even see or understand. And it's just, these organizations are gigantic. There's a lot of things that go into it. Now the money of the NFL just continues to go up. And these are major, massive jobs that require a lot of attention and a lot of things that people don't see on a day-to-day basis. They just see titles and don't quite understand it. But the operation of the business is intricate and is detailed, and there's a lot of people that are relying on people like Chad and Mike and myself to make decisions and run the day-to-day operation. And so I think it's a pretty cool structure, to be honest. I think it helps everybody do their job to the best of their ability, and so you don't get lost in the weeds. When your GM's not worrying about what the grass looks like on the field, he's more worried about what players are going to draft in the 6th round. I think those things help. It just helps keep everything streamlined and focused. And this is my opinion, but that's just how I've seen it, and I think it's beneficial for us.
Wow. 615-737-1045.
Who was the GM that worried about the grass on the field?
Well, I was told that John Robinson got in the weeds on stuff like that, but Brian Callahan clearly not here when John Robinson was here. So clearly he's talking about Rand.
Yeah.
So I don't know. A couple of quick notes. Chad Brinker in studio, 7:20 a.m. on Arcade Dub tomorrow morning. So make sure you listen to that. He'll meet with the media at 10 a.m. General Manager Mike Borgonzi will have his introductory press conference at 11 a.m. tomorrow. So the Zone will be all over it. Make sure you listen all day long. 104.5 The Zone. We'll have you covered. You can watch the show live, YouTube, Facebook Live, Twitter, and Twitch.
Twitch, please.
F&M Bank Chat is open. Savage, Ramon Foster in the chat, and he said, I know Blake Krieger. Yes, you do, because Blake trains Ramon's son, RJ.
Oh, for baseball.
And pitching, yes. Stud.
Speaking of another
stud,
somebody that you know right away that's going to be.
He's got a chance.
Insane.
RJ has a chance.
No doubt.
For sure. Miles, a great baseball player, too. RJ's got, Ramon's got it going. Patriots hired Josh McDaniel, offensive coordinator. So props to Mike Vrabel. He doesn't go outside the Patriot family, but he does go outside of guy I could put my thumb on the top of his head. So that's good.
There's already growth from Mike Vrabel already.
Look, I mean, as a head coach now in the NFL, if you're not calling plays, like there are certain situations that are different than others, but you've got to be a great manager, but you need great offensive and defensive coordinators.
Yep. And listen, that was I think it's fair to say that was a knock on Vrabel for when he was here was his hiring of staff members. I mean, how many times were we frustrated with what Todd Downing was doing, right? I mean, how many times were you like, goodness gracious, can we have some kind of creativity in this offense? How many times were you like, how is this offensive line coach qualified at all?
I know Vrabel
and
was
there
on
are issues there.
I know Vrabel was on the headset, on the offensive play calling headset, and he's a defensive guy.
Right. That should not be happening.
And maybe he's learned from that, you know?
I mean, I think you have to learn from that, right?
Although everything you hear out of New England is everyone will answer to Mike Vrabel. So
that's not a surprise.
No,
I mean, that's what he wanted here.
No, he wants control. Control.
Which is fine, but to me, the fact that he hired Josh McDaniels is huge already. I think it shows growth already.
615-737-1045. You want to react to what the head coach, Brian Callahan, told Easton Freeze with A to Z Sports. Again, the entire interview, and it's lengthy, will be put out and presented content-wise on Friday. When we come back, we have some college football opening week odds for you from sportsbetting.ag, including Tennessee, Syracuse, Texas at Ohio State. We could get number 1 against number 2 in the first week of the season. How about that?
Injected in my veins.
Got that for you now. College football's never over here on 3HL 104.5 The Zone.
All right, guys, I'm talking to you right now. I got a question for you. How are things going in the bedroom? You know what I mean? Are you happy? Is your partner happy? Are you noticing some differences? A lack of desire, energy, performance issues? Well, did you know that half of all men would struggle with erectile dysfunction at some point in their lives? Half. That doesn't have to be your normal. Nope. This is where GameDayMen'sHealth.com, they come in. Listen, the issues can be caused by any number of things. When we're talking about ED, now, it could be testosterone, could be something else. Bottom line, you don't know until you see Game Day. And here's the best part, your consultation and lab work to find out your numbers, completely free. It's the easiest thing in the world to request an appointment. I've done it multiple times. You got 10 seconds where you can do it. Grab your phone, go to GameDayMen'sHealth.com. At the top of the page, click Book Appointment. Pull up one of the locations in Green Hills or Hendersonville, and that's it. That's all you need. Get to it. 15 minutes, you'll have your lab results back. You'll meet with a medical expert that specializes in testosterone, sexual health, and erectile dysfunction, and receive a tailored solution for your needs. If you decide to move forward, all good, man. It's time. GameDayMen'sHealth.com. Get in the game.
3HL 104.5, the Zone. Prince Doherty, Don Davenport with you until 5:30. Vol Network coverage of number 14, Mississippi State, at number 6, Tennessee, coming up at that point. Tip-off scheduled for just after 6 o'clock. Vols 2-2 in their last 4. Both losses coming on the road. Most recently, of course, 76-75 loss at Vanderbilt. Mississippi State has lost 2 out of 3. Their 2 losses have come to Auburn and Kentucky. That SEC schedule, man.
So
it's crazy.
Tennessee has 5 straight ranked SEC opponents starting tonight.
Vanderbilt was like 6 out of 7.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's
because they're all ranked.
It's because they're all ranked.
Yeah.
And even those that aren't are still like in Joe Lunardi's bracketology thing. Like Vanderbilt's in bracketology. Mm-hmm. I think they're 9 seed. They've got one of the projections has Kentucky playing MTSU in the first round of the NCAA tournament. We're already there with bracketology. Bracketology and mock drafts. That's where we are in the sports schedule.
The worst SEC team is 10-8. And that's South Carolina.
Wow.
And, like, they can beat you. Look, they lost 66-63 to Auburn. Right? They lost 66-63 to Tennessee.
There are 12 teams with 4 less losses in the SEC.
It's crazy. I mean, obviously that number will go up because of what we were talking about, but with everybody playing each other. But it's going to be a fun college basketball season, and Slay Dog will have you covered all year. By the way, Michael Spain asking where Slay is. He's in Charlotte. He joined us at the top of the show.
Work.
Remember when Dawn didn't know what top of the hour meant? Do you know what top of the hour means? Bottom of the hour?
Yeah, like on the clock? Like
yeah.
on the log? Yeah.
Not that you didn't know what it meant necessarily, but didn't know why we said it that way.
I didn't know why we said it, yeah.
Y'all didn't do that in TV?
No.
Y'all are with blocks, right?
Blocks.
Like block 1.
A block, B block,
A
C
block,
block,
yeah.
D block, yeah.
It's a very confusing question to like someone, like to me, because I like know what it means. So I'm like,
I went through it with Jim Wyatt because he's the one that explained it to me. I was like, what's bottom of the hour? Because you know what I did?
I said it forever and you never said anything to me.
Because
like,
I just
let
ignored
it.
I'm like, oh, whatever. And then I tweeted a time that Jim Wyatt was coming on because you were like, oh, bottom of the hour or something. And so I tweeted it and it was the wrong time. And Jimmy texted me. I was like, it's this time. I'm like, oh, I thought bottom of the hour. He's like, it is bottom of the hour.
Yeah, 30 is bottom of the hour. Although now our breaks are not done that way. We used to be like 15, 30, 45. But now it's just 3 breaks an hour. So
less breaks for you.
Yeah, so 20 to 38 or so. Like letting you behind the curtain, as we always do here. We have some college football opening week odds for you from sportsbetting.ag. You ready for this, Davenport?
Sure.
Texas at Ohio State to open the season.
Can I say this before you jump in it? Yeah. I'm all about this.
Okay.
We have no idea what the hell these teams are going to look like then. No idea.
Right.
You don't know who's going to be for some of them, you don't know who's going to be the quarterback. You don't know what skill players they're going to have. They're going to be different.
For this game, for example, like we know Quinn Ewers is entered the draft, and even if he comes out of the draft, he's going to transfer somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So we know that it's the Arch Manning era at Texas.
Right. And
Ohio
you know it's
State,
the Nico era at Tennessee.
Right. Ohio State and Notre Dame now, because they played last night, their players have 5 days. They've got till Saturday to enter the portal if they want to enter the portal.
Mm-hmm.
And these are, obviously studs, the 2 best teams in the country, right? So we'll see. Texas at Ohio State to start the season. Could be number 1 against number 2 at the beginning of the year. Ohio State favored by 3.5. Basically home field, right?
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina against Virginia Tech. South Carolina with Lenora Sellers, man. Going into next year, you're going to see so much on that kid. South Carolina favored by 9. Notre Dame at Miami. Carson Beck at Miami. So he's dating one of those. What are their names of twins? Cavender? Is that what they are?
Yeah, the Cavender twins.
We had them on the show.
We did. They're awesome.
Live.
At the NIL event, right?
Yeah. And so she's dating Carson Beck, and apparently, like, there's a story out there that their relationship and whatever drama went along with it was rolling through the Georgia locker room, and they were glad that Carson Beck left. So Carson Beck goes to Miami. Yep. Doesn't she play at Miami?
She does.
Does she still? Isn't she like a ninth year?
They both have transferred and retransferred like 2 or 3 times.
A million times.
I know they play. Do they play there now? I guess they do.
One of them does, yes, for sure.
So,
I think they might both be back for their second stint at Miami.
So Notre Dame favored by 3 at Miami. Alabama at Florida State to open the year. Bama by 8.5.
I would take that up. I'm not sure Florida State's going to be good again.
Speaking of that,
they've got a new coordinator. They've got a new DC. They've got all these things going on there.
Gus Malzahn.
I think the game's passed him by, but
I'm not sure the talent on the field will translate.
Alabama
they have money, though.
That's true.
They have money to be able to bring in a roster, so.
That's what Danny Cannell said.
I mean, it's FSU.
Yeah. Although we joked with him about Florida State being a 100-1 odds to win the national title, and he was like, and I was like, value, and he's like, yes, and he's like, I'm just kidding. I would never tell anybody to bet Florida State to win the national title next year. So Bama at Florida State. That's a big one for DeBoer, though. You know, get going early. Imagine if Bama loses to Florida State to start the 2025 season. How hot will that be on DeBoer?
Kalen DeBoer's seat would be on fire.
Speaking of 8.5-point lines, I was thinking about this yesterday as Ohio State rolled off 31 straight points. Remember Chris Lowe? And I go, how surprised are you by that big line of 8.5? And he goes, I don't think it's enough. Remember when he said that?
Yep.
Low dog. You got to listen to that guy. TCU at North Carolina. Bill Belichick's first game.
That's fun.
UNC by 3. And
I mean, you have no idea what their roster is going to look like.
No, but my opening thought is TCU's better than that. So
I don't know.
See.
I'm not sold on Sonny Dykes.
He's an interesting cat, that's for sure. LSU at Clemson. Okay, Klubnik back. Talk about a guy that it seems like he's 41 years old.
I mean, he's got to be like on the Heisman list, right?
Didn't he play for Danny Ford in that 1980 national or 1981?
Which was crazy because he was also just a freshman like last year, it felt like at the same time.
Klubnik is back. Clemson favored by 1 over LSU. There's another hot seat watch for Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
That Notre Dame one.
Clemson has Tom Allen as their DC now,
That's right. Great coach.
I think I'm
former Indiana
early
head coach.
leaning Clemson on that one.
You are?
Yeah.
Auburn at Baylor. Babsy.
War Eagle.
I mean, when in doubt, you just mention Auburn. She just starts screaming War Eagle. Auburn favored by 1.5 on the road in Waco, Texas.
Dave Aranda saved his job.
Not a huge Dave Aranda guy.
He's
as a head coach.
He's fascinating.
Yeah. I think he's a really good coordinator.
He's so slow and measured. Everything he does is so measured. You know me, I'm like, let's go. And he is just so deliberate in everything he says, everything he does.
Yeah, that guy frustrates you.
He is the most odd college football coach, just from a personality standpoint. He is like none other. We need to have him on the show. He's fascinating.
I would love to. Georgia Tech at Colorado. That's another little nugget that Chris Lowe dropped a couple of weeks ago. I don't foresee Deion Sanders being at Colorado next year. And then he just kept talking about something else. And Dawn was like, wait, what?
I'm like, hold on. We're not going to let you just throw that one in and pass it by.
Low Dog does these low dog bites where you just got to be listening to him.
Right.
So I did just see that Nick Saban endorsed Deion Sanders to go to the Cowboys. He said he thinks he should take the job if he gets it or if he's offered.
Really?
Man, I'd love to see that.
That would be must watch. Can the Cowboys be on Hard Knocks? I don't think so.
Would Jerry Jones actually allow Deion to have control and stuff?
That's the only way that he would go.
Right?
You would have to. Yeah.
But can Jerry Jones, I get Jerry Jones agreeing to that, but can he help himself?
No.
That's where the
Look
drama
at Jerry
is.
Jones the last 2 decades.
That's where the drama
He can't help
is.
himself at all, but it would be so much fun to watch.
Utah, the Fighting Kevin Dysons at UCLA. UCLA by 1.5. And Syracuse and Tennessee in Atlanta. Interesting nugget. And I'm going to go back to this. In 1997, Tennessee, Peyton Manning's last year,
You love this.
lost 42-17 in the bowl game. T. Martin came in at the end of the game, led a touchdown drive. The next year, they opened with Syracuse in a dome, won the national title. They lost
It's destiny, Mayor.
They lost 42-17 to Ohio State. This year, to end the season, they opened with Syracuse in a dome in Atlanta. Tennessee by 13.5. That's a lot of points.
Well, yeah, and I think
If you want Syracuse, get them now.
get him now, yes. And I'll tell you that Fran will have himself a quarterback there. But I think that line is where it is because you mentioned Tennessee's roster. I mean, is there probably is, but I'll have to go through them in my head. But Tennessee is one of the few teams with a quarterback definitely back, with some skill guys definitely back, with, some pieces that are coming back that didn't hit the portal.
Yeah, Chris Brazel's back. He's the only wide receiver in the room with 10 or more catches in his career. So kind of a young room.
Didn't they get a transfer?
Yeah,
from
but
Alabama.
He was a redshirt freshman, didn't play last year because he had hip surgery.
Hip surgery before the season because Saban left.
Wasn't he a 5-star?
Four-star out of Chattanooga. Okay. And it was Tennessee, Alabama. So he's there. And the other thing is they get that slot corner on offense. Boo Carter. Remember they were negotiating that? I think that's going to happen. So I think that in the spring portal period, they'll go after another receiver, probably a veteran type guy like Brazel. And then I think Boo Carter's going to have some say in offense this year.
And I think with that offense, with Heupel,
Mike Matthews,
with Nico back, that'll help portal conversations.
When we come back,
and with the money Tennessee has.
Where did Bones Fossil, as special teams coordinator of the Dallas Cowboys, rank last year? We got a number of stats thanks to Jake and Ball on Twitter. That's next. 3HL 1045 The Zone.
How about some Xfinity Internet for you? Now that all these games are on different places, you need maybe good internet so you can open up some apps. Well, that would be Xfinity Internet. And here's the beauty about it. You could get the speed you need at a great price. Xfinity Internet comes with a variety of speeds to choose from. Connect more, fast, super fast. They even have Gigabit Extra, which is up to 1.2 gigabits per second. How about that? Reliable speeds on all of your devices. That will make your life so much easier. Get up to 5 times faster upload speeds for smoother connections on the largest gig speed network. Gig speed internet available to 99% of the footprint around here. Enjoy all your favorite apps all in one place. They have a Flex 4K streaming box available too. And don't forget, you can stay connected on the go with over 20 million secure Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots nationwide. Xfinity's internet service brings your entire experience together. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or just visit a store today.
Good evening. It's 5:03. I'm Joe Spadano live from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. The Titans have announced that they will hold an introductory press conference for new general manager Mike Borgonzi on Wednesday at 11 a.m. Chad Brinker, president of football operations, is scheduled to meet with the media at 10 a.m. for a quote-only session before Borgonzi speaks. Brinker will also join Ramon, Kayla, and Will in the morning at 7:20 in studio. In NFL news, the Vikings and head coach Kevin O'Connell have agreed to terms on a multi-year contract extension. Conversations are also underway on an extension for Vikings GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. Minnesota is 34-17 since they took over in 2022. Also, a reunion is Josh McDaniels is rejoining the Patriots as offensive coordinator as Mike Vrabel, former Titans head coach, now new coach of the New England Patriots, continues to build his staff. In college hoops tonight, number 6 Tennessee looks to bounce back from Saturday's loss as they return home to face number 14 Mississippi State. Tip-off for that one is at 6, and you can catch the Vol Network call of the game right here on The Zone starting at 5:30. For all your foundation repair and whatever needs, you need to visit USSTN.com. Bringing news at once in your home, the Titans and Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
John 104.5 The Zone. Hope you're having a great Tuesday. Brent Doherty with you on a beautiful evening now in the Music City. Tennessee basketball coming up at the bottom of the hour, Babs. 5:30. Fall Network coverage of Mississippi State at Tennessee coming up at 5:30. Tip-off set for 6 o'clock. Tennessee trying to bounce back from that Vandy loss. Vandy, by the way, at number 4 Alabama. Another chance to kind of shock some people and get a big win on the road against a top 5 team. Bama favored by 12.5. Tennessee favored by 8.5. 8.5 might be a lot in that game.
Yeah, especially the way they've been playing pretty close games here recently.
Tennessee at home, though, they're liable to blow you out because that defense gets suffocating in Knoxville for whatever reason.
10-0 at home so far this season.
Yeah.
I also feel like basketball is so hard to bet. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like, thanks, Mayor. I heard you suggest that one. But seriously,
Basketball
I mean,
is really hard.
That's a huge line, but
You need to pull that and play that for Slay when he comes back tomorrow.
you do need to play it for Slay.
Great analysis.
But you know exactly what I'm saying.
I do.
feel
Yes.
way
No,
more
you're not
comfortable with
wrong.
football because, you know, it's harder to score for football. It's just a completely different animal. And you're talking about basketball. The game can be over and, you know, and then a team doesn't cover because they've got scrubs in. It's just bunk.
I've said this to Slay, and he looked at me crazy when I tried to make this point. I've always thought this, like, football is so much more of a measured game with more time in between plays. Now you've got these fast offenses or whatever, but you know what I mean. Basketball is like up and down the floor. It's frantic. It's hectic.
Right.
You can go on a 6-point run, then give up a 6-point run just like that. And I'm like, I don't know how basketball coaches do it. Like, my head would pop off my shoulders.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously, like blood pressure. Like, how these dudes do this? I'm with you on that. And Slay looked at me like I was crazy. I'm like, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just not cut out for it. But I do enjoy watching it. How about that? Titans hire Bones Fossil as special teams coordinator. He is Jim Fossil's son. Jim Fossil was a longtime NFL coach for a number of teams in the NFL. But Bones Fossil has a great reputation. And when that story came down, Babs, you immediately reacted. You were like, that is a great hire.
I believe I sang hallelujah.
You did. And you did it like that. Like it was going ear to ear. It sounded a lot like that.
Oh, yes, it did. I'm telling you.
Your voice is from heaven, Babs.
Yeah, it sounded just like that. No, but that's, I mean, like I said, I never am a proponent for firing a coach in the middle of the year, but that special teams performance over and over and over, it was always something different within that unit that just did not work.
You sounded like Marshawn Lynch there. Over,
Yeah.
over.
And
over and over.
So did Zach say?
This is what I was about to say.
Okay,
yeah.
go ahead, Zeph.
I'm pretty sure Zach said that he got a message from someone in the organization that this was a complete 100% Brian Callahan decision.
Yes.
His decision to move on from Colt Anderson, his decision to go after Bones Fossil.
Good for him.
Good for him.
Now, Colt Anderson is still on the staff.
Yeah, that's a weird thing.
That's odd.
Yeah, I don't.
But he's young.
Right.
I mean, he.
So is he still on the staff?
He was in a position that he wasn't ready for, I think.
Are they allowing him to remain on staff while he looks for another job? I mean, could you see like a week from now, like Colt Anderson signs on with whoever, the Rams?
Do you want me to be honest?
Always.
No. Would you hire him after watching that special teams unit?
I'm not saying a special teams coordinator, but
I'm just saying.
He can go help out, Every grocery store needs a bagger.
Well, if you believe in him and you as a person and you think he can add to your staff, then you put him in a different position.
I've heard nothing but great things about that dude.
Right. He just shouldn't have been the ST coordinator.
At this point in his career.
Correct.
Right. Where did Bones Fossil and his crew rank in Dallas last year? This from Jake and Ball. You like that Twitter feed?
I do not. I mean, I'm sure the feed's great. I don't like the name of it. But go ahead.
Well, I think it's a guy named Jake, and he's talking about ball.
It used to be Jake and Hoops. I know this because I follow him.
Yeah,
that's why I had it. So he changed it to Jake and Ball.
Why? Oh, because football too.
Because he's going football too. Yeah. Kick return touchdowns. Dallas ranked number 1 in the NFL. Kick return average. Dallas ranked number 1 in the NFL. Number of 40-plus yard kick returns. Dallas ranked number 1 in the NFL. I can only remember the Titans having one of those. Can y'all? Y'all remember more than one? Spears got loose one time where the kicker got him at like the 45-yard line.
Bryce Oliver had a big one late in the season.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
In a game that they lost, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, odds are. What were they, 2-15 against the spread? It's unreal. Number of 40-plus yard kick returns, Dallas ranked number 1. Punt return touchdowns, Dallas ranked number 1. Punt return average, Dallas ranked number 14. Titans were like 29 or something. Number of 20-plus yard punt returns, Dallas ranked 8th in the NFL. Kick return average allowed, number 11 in the NFL. Titans are really bad in that stat. Net punting. This is where the Titans struggled with this one. Stonehouse out kicking his coverage all the time. Net punting, number 13. Field goals made, number 2 in the NFL. And the Dallas Cowboys, under Bones Fossil, one of only 3 teams to recover an onside kick.
I don't really care about that, but okay.
I know, but I just rattled off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I care about
8,
all
9,
the
10.
other stuff.
I just rattled off 10 things that they were much better than the Titans had in Dallas last year.
Yep.
So great hire there. All across the league, people talking about it. When we come back from FanDuel, 2025 Heisman odds, also 2025 National Champion odds. Next, stay tuned. 3HL 104.5 The Zone.
Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. You need new windows. You need new doors. Maybe you really realize how bad you need new windows right now when it's going to be 4 degrees here in Nashville tonight. Yikes. Don't worry. Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville can help you out. They're going to help you out with 50% off qualifying installations and no money down, no interest, no payments for 12 full months. So you have an entire year to pay off your new windows and doors. And you might be surprised to learn how affordable those windows are from Pella Windows and Doors. You can stop by any of their showrooms. They have one in Franklin, 277 Mallory Station Road. They have one in Hendersonville, 256 East Main Street. Or you can just go online easily, schedule a free consultation, check out the offer I told you about, PellaNashville.com, or call Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville at 615-249-1910.
What's happening, good people? Holistic stem cell therapy. Let's get your body feeling good. How you going to do that? I just told you, holistic stem cell therapy. But you got to go to Kellum Stem Cell Institute.com to get it done. I am one to let you know that I had it done with my knee, yes, and my hip, and my shoulder. And you're asking me, you had what done, Slay? Well, I got my body's stem cells harvested and stored for future and continued use. Now, they are your healing cells. It's your body, your cells, your solution. With my knee, the results were so great. The inflammation left so quickly. I wanted to expedite the results in my hip. So I went back, talked to Dr. Kellum, said, hey, man, hold on, Kellum, man, check this out. Ethan Kellum is his name, but I call him Doc. You can call him Doc. Doc, listen, we got to get this hip together. He said, don't worry, we hit you with the secret sauce. Secret sauce is mine because it's stored for future and continued use. All it is your nanoparticles and things waking up your cells, telling your body, let's go, let's get this inflammation out of here. 615-850-4415. You go have the conversation and consultation today at KellumStemCellInstitute.com.
3HL 104.5, The Zone. Brent Doherty, Don Davenport. Slay Dog will be back tomorrow. You can catch him on the SEC Network tonight. Just ran through Bones Fossil, the new special teams coordinator's stats with the Cowboys. Number one in a lot of categories last year with the Cowboys. Kick return touchdowns, kick return average, number of 40-plus yard kick returns, punt return touchdowns, all number one in the NFL. So that's what you're getting with Bones Fossil. From FanDuel, Babsy, you want the 2025 Heisman odds? You're going to be shocked by number one right now. I mean, shocked. Like, staple your face to the carpet?
Face to the carpet. It's not Nico.
Nope.
Arch. No, because that wouldn't shock me.
Let me do the top five.
Okay.
And I'll start at the bottom. So there are 3 players tied for 3. So that makes out 3, 4, 5. But there are 3 players tied for 3. Nico Iamaleava.
Okay.
At 11-1. Cade Klubnik, Clemson, 11-1.
I brought that up earlier because he's been there forever.
Drew Aller, Penn State, 11-1.
Not sold on him yet.
He did get a lot better this year.
Great decision for him to come back, I think.
And so, get
And
2 years in that offense.
More.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, 9.5-1. Arch Manning, Texas.
Okay.
No surprise there. Number 1, odds-on favorite right now at FanDuel to win the 2025 Heisman Trophy, LSU quarterback Garrett Nussmeier.
Oh.
Staple face to carpet surprised.
Wow.
I mean, I think he's going to have a really good year. I'm wondering about the same thing you are with Brian Kelly and all the drama that's going to go on there, but Nussmeier, man, we met him at SEC Media Day. That dude is calm, cool, collected, faith-first guy. Like,
I don't even remember.
Yeah, because I called him. I was like, do your boys call you D's Nussmeier? D's Nuss?
Did you say
Remember
that live on air?
Yes.
Yeah, because we had him and Mason Taylor back-to-back, the tight end.
That's right. Jason Taylor's kid. Nussmeier, D's Nuss. He handled that well. And you were like, Mayor, you really going to start the interview with that?
I must have tried to block that moment out of time in my head.
Number 1, he's the odds-on favorite. Garrett Nussmeier is the favorite to win the Heisman Trophy right now as we sit here in the year 2025, January 21. The year of the Lord.
That's crazy. I don't see that happening.
Here's some SEC guys. Garrett Nussmeier, obviously number 1. Arch Manning, obviously number 2. Nico, obviously number 3. Then you go, Lenora Sellers is the 4th highest odds guy from the SEC at 20-1. And then DJ Lagway from Florida, 25-1.
I mean, what he showed. God, next season's going to be so fun. It's going to be so much already.
Fun. It's going to be so much fun.
I'm already excited.
Lagway, baby. Gator Mike just texted me, Lagway not in the top 5 is a travesty. He is in the top 5 of the SEC, though.
Is he going to compete with former Tennessee Volunteer Harrison Bailey?
No.
Who's now on his 5th school?
Stop.
Did he commit to Florida?
Yes.
They did get him?
Yep.
Because he went down there to throw. This is where we are now with college football players. Like, they have tryouts.
It's like free agent workouts.
Jeez.
That is exactly what they are.
LV Runner 1975 on Twitter posted, best show, most fun hosts in Tennessee. Let's have fun this week. Thursday, January 23rd is National Pie Day. I remember him doing this last year. And in honor, we think awesome fans of 3HL 104.5 should vote which of the amazing hosts should take a pie in the face on air to celebrate, as it will make a viral moment fun for all. So who gets pied?
I voted for all 3. Mostly because my name wasn't on there, and I was.
All 3 is leading at 50%. I'm second at 33%.
That's what I'm talking about.
I can't get any votes to do the wash away toast, but I'm second on get
pie
pied.
in the face.
Ron Slay at 0.
That's
People think
crazy.
they can't reach him or something. Like Don Davenport at 17%.
No. I'm just going ahead and tell you that is not an official poll.
2025
Until I make
national
it an
champions. 2025 national champions. I got to get this out before we go to ball basketball.
You better
ready?
hurry.
Number 10, LSU, 20-1. Number 8, Tennessee and Clemson, 18-1. 7, Alabama, 16-1. 6, Notre Dame, 12-1. Penn State at 5, 8.5 to 1. Georgia 4, 7 to 1. Texas and Oregon tied at number 2, 6.5 to 1. Ohio State 4.5 to 1, number 1.
And we don't know who half those quarterbacks are going to be yet.
We do not. All right, fall basketball is next. We appreciate you including us in your day. We do not take that for granted, nor do we take it lightly. Have a great night. Good night. God bless.
See ya.
Wouldn't want to be unless you're Mississippi State
tonight.
going down tonight. Later.